People think festivals are safe places for families. They aren't. 20 years later, I still can't handle the cold because I know exactly what was waiting for me inside that van, and I know how close I came to never coming back. It was the morning of the winter carnival when I was 12 years old. According to our family tradition, my dad and I took our usual spot on Main Street to watch the parade. The marching band was warming up, tubas rumbled, little kids waved foam fingers. That's when I noticed this guy across the street. He was about 30 feet away, wearing a brown jacket with the sleeves rolled up. Despite the freezing cold, his forearms were covered in neat rows of scars, like someone had pressed hot coins into his skin, one by one. But that wasn't even the worst part. It was the intensity in his eyes. And he was staring straight at me. That weird guy over there is staring at me. I grabbed my dad's arm. Dad looked up from his phone. What guy? I pointed across the street, but he was gone, swallowed by the crowd. He was just there. Dad shrugged. It's parade day, sweetheart. Lots of weird folks out today. I scanned the crowd again, but couldn't find him. The parade started, and I tried to focus on the twirling dancers and the floats covered in fake turkeys, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me through an invisible window. Then Dad's phone rang. It's work, he said, stepping aside toward a quieter part of the street. I stood there, surrounded by people, yet suddenly feeling completely alone. As the music grew louder, someone dressed as a turkey waddled past, high-fiving kids. I watched a little girl run after him. When someone tapped me on the shoulder, I turned around and my heart stopped. He was inches from my face, his eyes locked onto mine. Up close, I could see his pupils were different sizes. One enormous, swallowing almost all the color. The other tiny, just a dot. I've got something for you, he whispered, leaning closer. I don't want it, I replied, trying to back away. He smiled, showing dull, uneven teeth. Oh, but you will, he murmured. Before I could react, his hand clamped around my wrist and yanked me back into the crowd. His skin was icy, and the burn scars felt rough and raised under my fingers. Dad, I screamed, but a float passed by with blaring speakers, and my voice vanished under drums and trumpets. I fought back, but he was stronger. He dragged me through the crowd like it was nothing. People brushed past us, bumped into us, never giving a second look. To them, we probably looked like a dad pulling his kid out of a tantrum. Stop struggling, he hissed. You're just making it worse. We reached the alley between the hardware store and the barber shop. He slammed me against the brick wall so hard, my teeth clacked together and I tasted blood. The parade was only 50 feet away. I could see people laughing, tossing popcorn, taking pictures, but they couldn't see me in the dark gap between the buildings. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a caramel candy wrapped in cellophane. Eat this, and you'll be able to see the others. He pushed it toward my face. Let me go, I sobbed. His face twitched, like something under his skin was trying to break free. Eat it, he said again. He leaned closer. They all do. It's the rule. He grabbed my face with his free hand, his fingers digging into my cheeks until I felt them scraping against my teeth from the outside, forcing my jaw open. The candy pressed against my lips, and I felt the cellophane melting. I kicked and thrashed. My heel hit his shin. He grunted but didn't let go. I bit his finger and tasted blood. He just laughed and shoved the candy deeper into my mouth. I swallowed it. The wrapper melted on my tongue, and I could taste bitterness under the sugar. My legs gave out, and the alley tilted sideways. Good girl, he murmured. Now we can go to the room. I tried to spit the candy out, but my mouth wouldn't move. He started dragging me deeper into the alley toward the white van parked at the end. My legs buckled, and I fell hard, scraping my palms. The back doors of the van were open. Inside, I saw chains bolted to the floor, a bare mattress, and plastic tops covering the walls near a camera on a tripod. And there were photos taped everywhere. They were all girls my age. They all had the same blank, hypnotized expression. He was lifting me toward the door when something slammed into him from behind. We both hit the ground. His grip finally loosened, and I rolled away. "Get away from her!" Dad was on him, fists smashing into the man's face again and again, blood spraying everywhere. The man made an inhuman moan. I watched my father beat him. The man babbling apologies, saying he'd mistaken me for someone else, spinning lies that he didn't mean any harm. People rushed over, calling for help. Someone phoned the police, while another pinned the man down to keep him from escaping. Dad wrapped me in his arms, and for the first time, I saw him cry. He kept apologizing for not believing me sooner. I hugged him back, trying to process what had just happened. Police sirens cut through the parade music. The man was arrested. At the station, they tested what was left of the candy. It contained sleeping pills mixed with something the detective wouldn't name, but said made him sick to describe. They found the van, 7 sets of chains, and the photographs. They also discovered his basement, filled with more chains, cameras, and walls covered in Polaroids of girls my age. The detective showed some of it to my dad. Years have passed since then. Dad made sure I saw a therapist. He's done everything he could, but no matter what, I can still see in his eyes he still blames himself. I wish he had acted sooner to stop all this, but I know he's my hero. He saved me that day, without wasting a single second. That was terrifying, right? The idea that monsters hide in plain sight, amidst the crowds. But honestly, that's not what scares me the most. What scares me is what hides where no one is watching. If you're brave enough to continue this night with me, hit that subscribe button right now. It's the only way we stick together. Now, let's leave the city lights behind, because Joan and I found something in the woods that wasn't supposed to be found. And trust me, Old Ben is not just a legend. Still wetting yourself over Grandma's scary stories? June teased as we stepped through the entrance gates. It was just another winter carnival evening, and June and I were sneaking into the Turkey Hollow Fair, just like we had every year since middle school. The fair glowed with orange and yellow lights, fake autumn leaves everywhere, and the smell of fried dough mixed with the cold November air. "Shut up," I muttered, though my stomach was already knotted with nerves. The theme that year was honoring local legends. Each booth was decorated with cheesy tributes to the town's folklore. As we walked past the food stalls, June stopped and burst out laughing. "Dude, check that out." He pointed at the next booth. There was a broken animatronic butcher, dripping with fake blood. He was holding a meat cleaver, swinging it back and forth, a painted smile frozen on his face. June laughed, but I couldn't. My grandmother's voice echoed in my head, the story she had told me every winter carnival since I was 8. Back then, there was a village butcher they called Old Ben. One winter carnival, he slaughtered his entire family, cut them up, and cooked their flesh for the feast. People didn't realize what they'd eaten until it was too late. Ben had already vanished into the woods, never to be found. June grabbed a stick of turkey jerky from the stand. "Want to try Old Ben's special recipe?" "You disgusting." We spent another hour riding the rides and wasting our money on rigged games. By midnight, most of the families were gone, just drunk adults and lingering teens left behind. "Let's go explore the woods." "What? Why? Come on, don't be such a buzzkill. I want to see if Old Ben is really out there." The woods started about 50 yards past the last booth. The fair lights didn't reach that far. As soon as we stepped past the tree line, it felt like walking into a cave. "This is stupid," I grumbled, letting my phone's light cut through the dark. "Just a little farther," June said. All I could hear were crickets. dry leaves and our boots crunching on twigs. As we circled an oak tree, a faint whistling sound slipped through the air. It was thin and off-key, like a ghost trying to remember a forgotten tune. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. June stopped, scanning the trees. We waited a few seconds, listening. When nothing happened, we kept walking. A few steps later, the whistling returned, louder this time. "Man, that's enough, let's go back." I swallowed hard. June nodded. We turned around and nearly peed ourselves. A man stood beside the thickest tree about 20 feet ahead. His face was unnaturally pale, almost gray in the moonlight. His dark clothes were soaked in fresh blood, dripping on the ground. In his right hand he held a butcher's knife. In his left, he was dragging a human leg, cleanly severed at the thigh, still glistening with blood. The torn skin mixed with dirt, leaving a dark, wet trail behind him. The moment our eyes met, we screamed and ran, not daring to look back, even though I could barely see where I was going. My phone was gone, branches whipped my face, and I stumbled over roots. The forest felt endless. Trees seemed to appear out of nowhere, thorns tearing at our clothes and skin. I could hear heavy steps behind us. He was still whistling, getting closer. That awful dragging sound never stopped, blending with the whistle. "This way." June grabbed my arm and pulled me left. We pushed through a bush and stumbled onto a narrow path I didn't recognize. I looked back. He was there, barely 15 feet behind us. His face was clearer now in the moonlight. His skin was stretched too tight over his skull. His eyes bulged like they were about to pop out. "Run!" June shouted. My lungs burned, my legs about to give out. June was faster, pulling ahead. For one terrible moment, I thought he'd leave me. I glanced back and saw him drop the leg onto the ground. Oh no, now he was going to run. I pushed harder than I ever had in my life. Branches slapped my face. My ankle twisted on a root, but I kept going. I could hear him breathing right behind me. Smell the copper and rot on his breath. "Over there," June pointed. We were near the edge of the fairgrounds. As we ran, incredibly strong fingers grabbed the back of my jacket, yanking me backward. I slipped out of it, hearing the fabric tear, and threw myself forward. Adrenaline surged through me as I burst from the forest into the back of the fairgrounds. There were still people around, workers taking down booths, a few stragglers heading to their cars. I turned around, gasping, expecting to see him come out of the trees, but he never did. "You saw that, right?" June was bent over, hands on his knees, face white as paper. "He almost got me," he whispered. We stood there for a long time, staring at the tree line. Carnival workers passed by without even glancing at us. My jacket was gone. My arms were covered in scratches. June's shirt was ripped, and a cut above his eye was bleeding. "We have to call the cops, Hal, and tell them what? That we saw old Ben in the woods with a human leg?" We called the cops anyway, but they didn't believe us. They said we were drunk, making it up, wasting their time. They told us to go home. But we know what we saw, and we know what we survived. Old Ben isn't just a legend. He's still out there in his woods, waiting for his next victim. After 8 months of dating, my girlfriend Sula asked me to meet her family for the winter carnival. The drive took 3 hours through the mountains. The whole time, Ursula kept checking her phone and biting her nails. "You nervous?" "Me?" I laughed. "What? No. I'm just seeing them again after a long time, that's all." Before I could ask more, we stopped in front of a huge Victorian house, sitting alone in the valley. Her father greeted us at the door, dressed in a black suit. "Dad, this is Gary," Ursula said. He shook my hand hard enough to hurt. "Welcome." His voice was deeper than I expected, but his wife, Mrs. Hartley, was the complete opposite. She took my coat with a wide smile and talked non-stop. Her eyes darted around constantly. Ursula led me to meet her grandmother. The old woman was sitting in a high-backed chair near the fireplace, hands folded, staring into nothing. "Hi, Grandma," Ursula said softly. She didn't respond, just kept staring blankly ahead. "She has dementia." Ursula whispered. She doesn't really interact anymore. Mrs. Hartley stayed in the kitchen while Ursula gave me a tour. The house was spotless, filled with expensive decorations. We stopped in front of a portrait of an old man with sharp features hanging in the hallway. He stared out from the frame with the coldest eyes I'd ever seen. He wore a dark suit and his faint smile gave me chills. "That's my grandfather," Ursula said. "He died of a heart attack 3 years ago, during the Winter Carnival dinner." "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." "It's fine," she said quietly. "He was traditional. Everyone was afraid of him." She paused, still looking at the portrait. "Sometimes I feel like he still runs everything around here." "Dinner's ready." Mrs. Hartley's voice cut through the hall before Ursula could respond. The dining table overflowed with food: roast turkey, casseroles, cherry pies, mashed potatoes, and stuffed vegetables. My stomach growled immediately. I was about to sit down when I noticed there were 6 chairs instead of 5. Ursula must have noticed my confusion and whispered, "We always keep one for grandfather. It's tradition." Even though it was strange, I let it go and started eating. Mr. Hartley carved the turkey in complete silence. Grandma smiled vacantly while Mrs. Hartley kept talking nonstop. "Let's say grace," Mr. Hartley said firmly. Everyone joined hands. I tried to focus, but my eyes kept drifting to the empty chair. And the longer I looked, the less empty it seemed. "Heavenly Father, we thank you for this meal, for..." Suddenly, all the lights went out. The windows burst open, letting in a freezing gust of wind. "We forgot the candles," Mrs. Hartley shouted, already rushing toward the kitchen. Mr. Hartley followed. Ursula hesitated, looking at me with wide, terrified eyes. "It's okay," I said. "I'll be fine." But her face was filled with panic as she ran after her parents, leaving me alone in the dark, lit only by the moonlight. That's when I realized I was still holding Grandma's hand. She was smiling now, staring straight at me. "He likes you," she whispered, her voice far too steady for someone with dementia. "Grandfather likes you, Gary. He's been waiting to meet you, Gary." I tried to pull away, but her nails dug into my skin like claws. "He's sitting right there." She pointed to the empty chair. The cushion was visibly sunken now, and on the white tablecloth I could see bloody handprints that hadn't been there moments before. Then I heard breathing right above me. I looked up, and my brain just stopped. Something that looked almost human, but wasn't, was hanging from the ceiling. Its fingers and toes clung to the beams like an enormous spider. Its gray skin stretched tight over its bones, and its eyes glowed a sickly yellow. It spoke in a voice that sounded inhuman. "Welcome to the family, Gary." I screamed and fell backward out of my chair. I tore my hand free from Grandma's grasp, ripping my skin, and ran. Behind me, that thing dropped from the ceiling with a heavy thud that shook the floor. I bolted toward the front door, fumbling with the lock. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the handle. I turned around and saw a skeletal figure on all fours, just inches away, smiling, drooling. The moment the lock clicked, I threw myself into the freezing night. I was halfway down the driveway when I heard Ursula calling after me. "Grandfather likes you, Gary. He won't hurt you. Come back." I jumped into the driver's seat and slammed the door. Suddenly, Mr. Hartley came running toward the car. "You've offended him. We can't let you leave." "I'm not part of this freak show," I yelled. "I'm done." He threw himself on the hood and started pounding the windshield, his face twisted with rage and despair. He hit it so hard that a crack spread from one corner. I managed to start the engine, slammed it into reverse, and hit the gas. Ursula's father rolled off to the side as gravel sprayed everywhere. In the rearview mirror, I saw Ursula and her parents standing in the driveway, watching me drive away, their faces filled with disappointment. Ursula tried to reach me several times. Calls, texts, emails. She even came to my place once, but I refused to open the door. "Gary, please," she said through the door. "I need to explain." I threatened to call the police if she didn't leave. Eventually, she stopped trying, but left a long voicemail saying she was sorry. She just wanted me to meet him because grandfather still runs the family. I deleted it. And to this day, I spend the winter carnival alone. I can't bring myself to date anymore. I don't trust anyone. Every winter carnival night, I sleep with the lights on, terrified that I'll look up and see that horrible thing clinging to my ceiling, breathing above my head.